time this year. We say hello from IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. John Hindhaugh and Shea Adam with you as we get ready for a 35-minute contest that still has plenty to recommend it. A little bit untidy yesterday, 20 corners around this Formula One circuit and a variety of corners that gives a real challenge to the drivers and the engineers, as well as the Yokohama tyres. Shea Adam is alongside me in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre. Luke Hartog still hasn't done anything wrong, so he's all right at the moment, and he'll be crowned champion at the checkered flag. But there's plenty to play for in the Pro category and indeed in the other two categories, Shea.
Second place is very hotly debated in the Pro category after yesterday's race. Ryan Yardley, a bit of a stud at this Circuit of the Americas. It's been a track that he has done well at for 3 races now. Vaulted himself up to a tie for second place in the championship with Alex Sedgwick. So we still don't know who's going to come out on top of that battle, but they will not finish the season on a tie. I can promise you that. Mathematically, it's impossible. In Pro-Am and in Masters, we allow for a dropped weekend, effectively to bring people back into the championship hunt if they don't get the run of the riches going through the season, or if they have to miss a weekend. So that factored into our points tally coming into today's race, because we had Alan Metney on 247 points after yesterday's race and Efren Castro on 246. Well, now there's been a change. With the dropped race coming into effect, Metney is on 239, Castro on 237. So that battle is very much a 2-pony show between those two drivers, Alan Metney and Efren Castro. In Masters, yesterday was an upset. Matt Halcomb getting taken out on lap 1 in the S's. His car went up and over, didn't quite make it all the way over, but it did land back on its wheels. Meant that Matt Halcomb finished dead last in the class for Masters in yesterday's race, walking away with only 5 points. Well, again, after we've had that dropped race come into effect, Chris Palomo is now right there in the championship battle, and we do need to keep an eye for not only where the mystery machine finishes, because Matt Halcomb leading the championship has that advantage. Now we've got Chris Palomo in the silver, pink, and black Porsche right there with a real shot at taking his first Masters class victory.
So that is the championship situation at the moment. Let's take a look at 35 cars which will line up for our final race of the season. 35 because after yesterday and 2 incident responsibility calls, Peter Atwater is taking a 1 race suspension. So here's how they line up. On the back row on his own, Tom Palamas for ACI Motorsport. On row number 17, Javier Ripoli in Pro-Am from Mentop FMS Motorsport with RGB Racing. He's got Jody Miller in the Masters class for MGM. For company, Josh Conley for Era Motorsport is in P32 ahead of John Getz, or at least on the same side, same grid row as John Getz. Ahead of them, John Gilliland for Kelly Moss Racing in the number 80 has got Todd Parriott just ahead of him in 29th position. Joel Johnson and Kyle Washington make up positions 28 and 27. Matt Halcomb, recovering from that half roll yesterday, is the next up in the Masters class and takes pole position. He's got James Sofranas in Pro-Am for company. He's in P25. 12th row of the grid. Thomas Kiefer in the number 27 car, one of the Pro drivers. Jordan Wallace in Pro-Am is alongside him, another Kelly Moss Racing car. Moise Oretsky in Pro-Am is Baby Bull Racing driver, and he is in P2 24. 23 is Jordan Wallace. Then we have Madeline Stewart on position number 20 with Scott Blind. Actually, sorry, I've just missed out Jeff Mosing there as well. He is in position 21. Madeline Stewart and Scott Blind on the 10th row. Chris Palomo and Marco Cironi on row 9. Row 8, Efren Castro and Jake Pedersen. Angel Benitez and Sabra Cook is the two drivers on row number 7. Row 6, Yves Baltas and Michael McCann, Colin Kaminsky and Elias de la Torre on the 5th row. So inside the top 10 now for the best of the Pro-Ams. Alan Metney on pole position there in P8 for Kelly Moss. And he's got Dan Clark for company. Alex Sedgwick looking for second place in the championship for JDX Racing in the red, white and black number 98. Jimmy Libra in the red, white and blue number 2 for ACI alongside him. JDX Zach Vanier, a 3-time winner this season, is on the outside of row 2 with Ryan Yardley for top performance for company. Luke Hartog just needs to get to the checkered flag without upsetting anybody and getting any minus points to be crowned champion this evening at the Champions Dinner. And Michael Cooper takes pole position. That's how they line up for this race. Bit less yellow than yesterday, I think. It would be a good thing, Adam.
Certainly would be. And for Michael Cooper, this is going to be a very interesting start because he has been racing off the beginning. Yesterday, both Michael, who had a front row start, and Luke Hartog, our champion-elect, went way wide at turn number 1, which opened the door for Zach Vanier, the eventual race winner, to come through and drive away. But for Michael Cooper, this is his first pole position of the year. So how is he going to approach being on the better side of the track? This is going to be a very, very interesting move from a very experienced veteran driver up against our series champion-elect.
So just waiting for the cars to come around as we have our final race of the season. And 35 minutes on the clock. Yesterday we finished under yellow, the safety car on the Carrera white Porsche 911. And their lights are out. What do you reckon then, Shea?
Who am I watching out in this one? Well, Zach Vanier starting P4 is a bit further back, but we saw a good move from him off the start. Always got to keep an eye on Ryan Yardley around here. But to me, Alex Sedgwick and that number 98, the PT Autosport with JDX, this is potentially his last Carrera Cup start in North America because we hear he's got some pretty big plans for the future ahead. And we're really happy to see all the progress that he's made. Nothing left to lose, though, for the driver of that number 98. And another race victory, that'd be pretty sweet.
So we've given you a seat, but we expect that you'll only use the edge of it. In fact, Shea and I are standing up for the final time this season. The safety car slows them down through 16, 17 and 18 and will accelerate away. It is Michael Cooper for Baby Bull Racing in the purple and pink car who will bring them to the line. They are very close to the back of the safety car here. Normally they let the safety car go and the safety car hasn't dived into the pits yet. It's staying out. Has the safety car gone into the pits at the final corner? It stayed out for a very, very long time and yes, it has, so we will be going green. That was a very late turn into the pit lane as we come to the green flag for the final time of asking for 2024. Luke Hartog just inching ahead for a moment. Cooper let him drop back and then put his foot down. That was really smart indeed by the ball sitter. Dan Clark pulls out of line further back. So does Ryan Yardley as he tries to get up the inside. Nobody's going to make the first corner. Ryan Yardley in the gold and yellow car has played that one perfectly. He could well lead here. He's side by side with Luke Hartog, who went off the track and gained advantage there as they go through the first few corners over the bump at turn 4. Now 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 get progressively more tight as they stream through. And the good news is that we do have a clean start. Lots of dust being thrown up at the apex of turn number 8 where the cars are going off the track. Sedgwick under pressure from Jimmy Libre as he has to go defensively into the almost hairpin at turn number 11. They're on the back straight for the first time. The back straight that's about as straight as a banana as they head down towards turn 12. Clean start, and that'll be a sigh of relief for all the major protagonists and indeed everybody in the race. Shay, Adam.
Yeah, Ryan Yardley doing a Zach Vanier, waiting as the two leaders went well off the track to try and sneak through and claim the lead, even if it was just for a brief moment. But everybody managed to stay in their columns for today's race. That is important because yesterday there was a 10-second penalty applied to Sabra Cook as she moved out of the column before. Now, 10 seconds doesn't sound like that much, but when you finish behind the safety car, it dropped her about 10 positions as far as the overall standing was concerned. So for this to be a clean start, that is one box ticked. And now we can focus on just staying green and staying racing.
Shay, Adam alongside me, John Hindhoff, as we are counting down towards the end of the IMSA season. A wide turn into the 19th corner from Sedgwick. And again, track limits at turn number 20. Really just not being adhered to by any of the drivers. So Hartog leads by just on 0.6 of a second. Let's check through some of the classes. Pro-Am is being led by Alan Metney in the number 99 Porsche. Keep an eye out for that one. He's in 9th position and he's got a reasonable number of cars. He's got 2 cars between himself. Check that. 3 cars between himself and Efren Castro Shea. And that's the big battle in Pro-Am.
That is the literal championship battle between those 2 cars, with Alan Metney leading the way, and he does have the points advantage of 2 coming into today's race. In the Masters category, the guy who has gotten more fast laps than anyone else this year, John Getz, is into the pit lane. That's disappointing for the Kelly Moss runner, as he has right front nose damage quite a bit there. John coming into contact with somebody's rear end, I would imagine, to hazard that guess.
Yeah, and that was quite heavy contact by the look of it. Now, he spun it at turn number 12 and got picked up. Now, yesterday, I did say that there was a phenomenal piece of avoidance by the number 74 car of Josh Conley, the Era Motorsport driver. Today, even he and his spidey senses couldn't get around the stalled car in the middle of the track. The start of the race, pretty good by the pole sitter, Michael Cooper, but he was really suckered into it by Luke Hartog. They both went miles off the track. How that isn't a penalty, I've no clue, because Hartog gets the lead. The only person who didn't is Ryan Yardley, and he gets penalised for staying on the track. There's no incentive there to stay between the white lines. This is a safety. This is a safety thing. The white lines are there to delineate the edge of the circuit. The circuit safety certificate is granted on the fact that people are using the circuit and not the runoff as racetrack. Yes. And I just don't understand that. Even on the first lap, Yardley wasn't pushed out there. He chose to go out there and he gained an advantage in time or speed. That's a slam dunk penalty. And I think Ryan Yardley will be arguing that as well to his team. So coming through again at the completion of lap 2. We're working lap 3 now. Heading up through turn number 9. John gets out of his car, surveying the damage. John, you have given us superb entertainment this year. By his own admission, he's not the world's greatest qualifier. Sometimes I think he does it on purpose. I really do. Because he races through the field like a man possessed. He probably in his category, in fact, I'd say certainly in his category. I don't know if these stats exist here. I reckon he's done the most overtakes in the Masters category this year.
Oh, I would have to imagine that's correct. There is no record of that, though, by the way. That would be a lot of digging back through the Alcamel timing sheets to try and find that one. Alan Metney finds himself in a bit of a danger zone because he is in the middle of a battle between Colin Kaminsky and Michael McCann. Kaminsky outbraking himself a few corners ago, going way wide, let McCann through. And once again, cars driving anywhere that there is pavement around this circuit. Kaminsky now getting through and opening the door for Yves Baltas as well. I think Sabra is there too. So Metni doesn't need to fight this fight. He just needs to stay ahead of Efren Castro. Even if Castro, well, no, if Castro gets ahead of him, Castro wins the championship. So all Metni needs to do is make sure that he is in front of the red, blue, white, and silver number 65 car. And at this stage of the game, it's way too early to be fighting this hard with people that aren't in the class.
The gold car, number 15, has just gone through. The slippery surface flag is out at the final corner. I presume that is for the... Oh, no, it's for debris.
Oh, debris.
Debris at the final corner. It basically means rubbish on the track that shouldn't be there. It can mean reduced grip, but it does just mean there's something on the track that shouldn't be. I was just about to say that Yves Baltas had pulled off a decent manoeuvre on the black number 99, but now we've got 3 wide into turn 1 as Jake Pedersen in the old GT silver car now gets side by side with the Pro-Am leader Alan Metni. And as Shea Adam rightly said, it should be getting piped into Alan's headphones there. He does not need to fight these guys. They are not in his category. But the bad news is, of course, that whilst he's doing this, he's holding himself up. And watch out for the number 65 car of Efren Castro, who is closing in on him. The black and white car behind the silver car as they go over the top of the rise. That is the number 65. So he's only got 1 car cover now. The leader of this Pro-Am race dives down the inside of the yellow and blue, the yellow and white car ahead of him. That was the Pedersen car, wasn't it? That was the Kaminsky car that was right ahead of him. So now he's got 2 cars. Again, 2 cars cover for a moment.
Ooh.
But Kaminsky immediately goes, excuse me, that's not Kaminsky. That is the Cook. It's the Sabra Cook car. Going wide again at the exit of turn number 12. It just looks untidy, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. It's not good racing when the drivers can't stay on the track. And because we're not privy to what they've been told in the driver briefing, they may have said, as they did with IndyCar a few years ago, which I have to say I disagreed with then, and I disagree with vehemently now, that you race and the track limits are the walls. But I'm sorry, I just don't follow that at all. You've got a racetrack, stay on it. That is the skill of being a racing driver. There must have been something told, because all the drivers are disregarding track limits, making a mockery of track limits at the moment. Hartog is pulling away from Yardley and Cooper and Vanier. That's your top 4. But they're still having a bit of a scrap. Now, Alex Sedgwick in 5th position in the number 98, Shay. What's he got to do to get 2nd position in the championship?
Finish ahead of Ryan Yardley. It's that simple. Whichever of these drivers finishes ahead of the other, regardless of who gets the fast lap in this race, they will be 2nd in the championship. So right now, Sedgwick needs to figure out how to pass Vanier, pass Michael Cooper, and then eventually pass Ryan Yardley. It's a big ask, but with 25 minutes to go of this race, it is definitely doable. And as we've seen, anything can change in a moment's time. In the Masters class, which I just feel like we should mention, because we've been captivated by this Pro-Am battle, which has been excellent to watch. In Masters, Belomo is leading, which means that Chris Belomo would take the championship. He right now has a 5-point deficit to Matt Halcomb. And I've just received intel that Matt Halcomb yesterday, remember, had that big crash, finished last in the race. He went to the Georgia-Texas game that was going on last night. The biggest event in Austin this weekend, arguably. He didn't even get dinner. All he had were Scooby snacks. So that's what he has been amped up on for today's race to try and get his Masters championship.
And do you know the result of the Dogs versus the Longhorns?
I do not.
Well, I won't spoil it for...
Is it going to make Matt Halcomb happy or not?
Well, I can't give any hints away. If you haven't seen it, it was on TV last night, as you might imagine. So heading down in the 5th lap of racing, Sedgwick right on the back of Zach Vanier. And over the top of the rise, Zach Vanier and Alex Sedgwick off at turn 9. Onto well across even the green there. Oh, big slide further back down the field as well. And that
Jordan
was
Wallace.
the Wallace car. Yes, absolutely. Pro-Am started. Now, I tell you what, very, very lucky there that there was nobody even closer, as the car did a half spin. Actually, a pretty good job by Jordan Wallace in the Kelly Moss car. We talked about it yesterday, about these new pavement areas that have been repaved again here at the Circuit of the Americas. Super smooth, but the lateral grip isn't quite there yet. And remember, Yokohama rubber here for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, the only cars running on Yokohamas this weekend.
Change for the lead. Ryan Yardley back to the front as Luke Hartog dropped back to third place on that last lap. Now Michael Cooper fighting to try and hang on to second place, but Luke Hartog steals it back. Zach Vanier is right there, and that red and white car lingering in the background. Alex Sedgwick looking to make a big move, potentially going from P5 to P2, but Ryan Yardley is checked out.
Side by side, Cooper in the 88 car goes round. That is not an easy thing to do. He's going to go wide and on the inside line through the debris. Zach Vanier. Zach Vanier coming through in the number 9. He's going to do a 2-for-1, buy one, get one free. That is a brilliant manoeuvre from 4th up to 2nd for Zach Vanier. So this is a great run.
Oh, look at Sedgwick around the outside on Luke Hartog up to P4. He knows that his chance at second in this championship is getting around all of these cars, and Hartog way wide at turn 19. He's out of the camera shot.
So let's take a look at what's going on in the categories and in the Masters class. Rolled but not out, over but not out from yesterday. Chris Palomo is now 20th and just ahead by half a second of Kyle Washington in second. And in third is Scott Blind. Matt Holcomb was over and not out yesterday, the number 55 rather. He's in 4th position and round about 4.5, 5 seconds behind the leader at the moment. In Pro-Am, Metney and Castro have no cars between them now, and only half a second. And at the front of the field, it's 3 seconds between Ryan Yardley, who's hit the afterburners and is pulling away from Zach Vanier in second, who's trying to shake off the number 88 of Michael Cooper by half a second. So as it stands at the moment, is Alex Sedgwick doing enough to be second place in the championship?
No.
Adam? No, I didn't think so.
Ryan Yardley leading means that Ryan Yardley would take it. Vanier in second holds on to 4th in the championship. Michael Cooper 3rd. Luke Hartog, after going way off at turn 19, stayed ahead of Alex Sedgwick, who also went off at 19, but not nearly with the ability to carry as much momentum. Now, I've just had word from Race Control. They are closely monitoring track limits at 11, 15, 19, and 20. So those are the corners that we need to watch out for people taking extra liberal use of the track.
Well, there's quite a few people who must be on their last warning already. We don't have a Race Control channel to be able to see the warnings here, but certainly half the field have come through 19 and 20 off the track. What was the other one? 11. That's onto the back straight.
11.
Yeah.
Correct.
The whole of the top 6 were off there. In fact, we had Luke Hartog so far off, I thought he was going to have to show his pass to get back on the circuit again last time around. I'm surprised there wasn't someone going, I'm sorry, you haven't got the right sticker on your windscreen there, mate. You can't bring that in. Obviously in a Texan accent, not in one from Sunderland. Yardley taking through, finishing lap 7 and going through at a 3.3 second gap to Vanier, who is now still 0.6 of a second. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th still all there together. 2 spots on the box and 4 cars and 4 drivers battling over it at the moment, Shea.
And 0 effort for tire preservation between any of the 4 drivers fighting for second place. This is completely elbows out. Last race of the season, last race of the championship. let's go. Let's give it everything we've got. You don't have to worry about crash damage. There's not a race next weekend. So this is going to be completely unleashed for the next 19 minutes worth of racing.
Hello to all of you tuning in around the world for this last IMSA sanctioned race of the season. Down to the hairpin at 12, and a huge throw down the inside from the number 88, Michael Cooper, and, to 11, and he stayed on the track, and he's got the position away from Luke Hartog. So goes through there, Yardley and Vanier, then the 88 of Cooper, down the inside for Hartog, just waiting for the end of this race to confirm his championship. Sedgwick lurking, loitering with intent in the background. And then a little bit further back, Jimmy Libra in the distinctive blue, white and red tricolour car. Alan Metney now under pressure round the outside for the number 65, the black car with the silver stripe on. That is the championship battle in Pro-Am. Castro tries to go through. Efren Castro with that white silver, and right in there as well, the 85 is Jake Pedersen in the GT silver car. That is the colour that all of these cars come from Porsche Motorsport in Weissach. And these three then are battling for 13th, 14th and 15th. That is not what is at stake here. It is the Pro-Am Championship, Shay.
And these are three Kelly Moss cars that are going at it. Jake Pedersen in the pro category, mixing it up with his two very capable teammates, although they're in a different class because they're of a different age. That's what separates all of the drivers in Pro-Am, Pro and Masters. But for this Pro-Am championship, it is on. And Efren Castro, yesterday's race winner, going up against Alan Metney, a guy who basically helped build this racetrack. He knows it so well. He is an Austin guy, and this would be magnificent for him to claim a second championship in this category at this home track. Efren Castro wants I think it would be his third championship in 4 years. So we've got a really good battle on our hands between these two. And the best thing is, John, they're keeping it fair.
Dirt on the track, and around goes the black and green number 91. That's one of the cars that started near the back, and one of our new drivers for this weekend, Javier Ripoll from Momentop EMS Motorsport by RGB Racing. But he's managed to get that car pointing in the right direction. And just to underline that battle again, for 13th and 14th, add Jake Pedersen in for 15th, although Shea says in a different class. They're all Kelly Moss cars. There are no team orders. None.
No.
At the moment, it is between Alan Metney and Efren Castro. And effectively there, Shea, just to reiterate here, winner takes all as far as the championship's concerned.
Yes, because Metney has 239 points. You get 25 for winning the race, 20 for finishing second. So their 5-point gap is not enough for anyone to overcome it. Either way, there is no way for there to be a tie. And that was a very bold move for Luke Hartog to try the dive down the inside to turn 11. Wasn't able to get it done, as Javier Ripoll goes around again, I believe. Or is that Efren Castro involved? I think Efren Castro. Who's the second car?
Moisey Aretsky was in that.
No, it's Marco.
Yeah, Aretsky was involved to start with, and you're absolutely right. It was Marco Cironi that was in there coming down to the end of the long straight. Castro goes wide, tries to cut back and loses it on his own. Does he get picked up? Oh, my goodness. He's dropped back. That could be the Pro-Am Championship right there. He's on the dirty side of the track and almost gets hit by Madeline Stewart, who does a brilliant piece of avoidance. And unfortunately, there's another spin there as well. Again, Aretsky in the pink-fronted car does a really good job of getting around. And then there's contact as well. A little bit further around the track, JT Miller getting turned around by Javier Ripoll.
Marco Cironi.
Sorry, similar coloured cars.
Yes.
Ripoll was ahead of that in the number 91 car. So into the pit lane for Cironi in that black and green car.
This could have big ramifications as well, John, because Tironi was third in the championship coming into today, only 9 points ahead of Moise Uretsky. So that could be a change for third in the Pro-Am Championship as well. But right now, the driver who's going to be most despondent is Efren Castro after spinning on his own from a position where he was battling for the lead. At this point, Metni needs to turn on the cruise control, put his head down, and just focus on driving, because as long as he's ahead of Efren Castro, nobody can catch him in this championship, and he would be the Pro-Am champion for the second time. It's kind of funny because Metni wins it in the even years and Castro wins it in the odd years. 21 and 23 for Castro and 22 and potentially 24 for Metni.
Coming down into the last 14 minutes of the 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup North America with Yokohama. And Sedgwick still in fourth position. And the bad news for him, that he is just over 4 seconds, make that nearly 5, just over 5 seconds actually behind the leader. Dive down the inside on Cooper and can't get that done at turn 1. And this is his second place in the championship, potentially just being snatched away from. Got to credit Yardley though. Ryan Yardley took his opportunity, Shay, with pole position in this race, and having lost the lead, he fought well. Luke Hartog suffering maybe on used tyres. You only get 3 brand new tyres from Yokohama for each race weekend. It's up to you how you use them, and it may just be that Ryan Yardley has decided to hold on to a couple of new tyres or lightly used tyres for this final 35 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Yardley did a great job yesterday, too, from the second row. Today, once again, coming from the second row on that start to just be patient and do the Zach Vanier move to take advantage of everyone else struggling to keep it on the track through turn 1 as Angel Benitez is now into the pit lane and car going up on the air jacks. Maybe just a new Yokohama needed. He can get back out to finish the season. But Yardley has always been strong at this circuit, and he's proving once again today that he really likes Circuit of the Americas. It would be potentially his third win on the season, but his first on an F1 weekend. And John, we talked about it yesterday. It's special when you get to hear your national anthem played on a Formula One podium.
Pedersen goes by and takes 13th position from Alan Metni. So Jake goes through, but remember, he's in a different class, though that's not affecting the points tally of Alan Metni in that black number 99 car. His next nearest competitor is Moise Uretsky. You can't miss that car. It's got the pink front end. Bit of grass tracking by, and dirt on the Yokohama tyres. And a spin for Jeff Mosing. Scott Blinn just managing to avoid him in the bright highlight, a yellow car as he went over the top of turn number 9. The car gets a wee bit light there with the dirt on the tyres from the apex of turn 8. There's a bit more grass there than has been in previous years to try and discourage drivers from cutting the corners. They're going to have to do like they do in World Rally. Been watching the Central European Rally this weekend as well, because, never enough motorsport. The anti-cut devices, they're going to need to start putting those on the inside of the corners. Looks like it's another radiator burst for what was that? That was the Chironi car, Marco Chironi, the 84 car in the pit lane.
Yeah, that means Marco Chironi's season is done, and he will be very upset, not only with the fact that his season has ended the way it has, but that he's most likely going to lose third in the championship as well after a full season of fighting. Alex Sedgwick got through on Michael Cooper well before turn 11. Cooper going a little bit wide, trying to fend off Luke Hartog now.
And that was a little touch there from the pink-fronted Michael Cooper, number 88 car, on the back of Alex Sedgwick. He can see Zach Vanier, but that 2 seconds will seem an awful long way away as we're into the last 10 minutes. If Sedgwick can pull this back, that would be extraordinary. It would be absolutely extraordinary. And second place in the championship is on the line. And that is the Pro Championship. Just a reminder, of course, that we are also looking for a junior driver to go forward and to represent the Porsche Carrera Cup North America in the Young Driver Shootout for the opportunity to become a Porsche Young Driver. And that's test held in Europe later on in the year. Well, that has launched so many drivers' careers, Shea Adam, that have gone on to become, well, literally globally known names. And another spin at turn 9, this time for a car that we saw spinning yesterday as well. The very brightly coloured Todd Parriott, number 13, Kelly Moss racing car. In fact, a couple of spins from Todd. Again, when he's leaning laterally on the car, I think the drivers are just struggling a little bit in getting consistency in the handling of the cars on this new tarmac. Forward and backwards, so braking and accelerating in a straight line, not so bad. Leaning on the car, lateral grip, is what all the drivers have been telling us from the WEC, a month or so ago, right through this weekend. It has been a little bit difficult on this new tarmac. Last 8 minutes of the season, Shea Adam.
Chris Palomo still leading in the Masters class. He's got a car between himself and the next in category. The problem is that the car between himself and the next in category, well, they're teammates. James Sofronis of GMG is leading around Kyle Washington, also of GMG. And James Sofronis, ever a team player, if there's something he can try and do to help Kyle Washington, he'll do that. So now Chris Palomo needs to be a little bit nervous about the car behind him just to keep it clean, hit his marks, and do what he needs to try and win this Masters Championship. He's got how many cars between himself and Matt Halcomb? 4 cars? He can afford to let one position go, but not more than one. He needs to be aware of that as well.
So, Shea, coming down, how's your arithmetic doing at the moment?
Simple.
Yeah.
This one is very simple. Whoever is ahead in each of the categories, they will be our champion or second place. So right now, Ryan Yardley getting that second place, but Alex Sedgwick is only 5.4 off the lead. He's been closing in on Zach Vanier the last couple of laps.
That could make life a little bit more interesting. Hello to Kevin Payne, one among many who followed this right through this year. And thank you, as Kyle Washington just pulls out of the way to allow a couple of quicker cars come through. Scott Blind, and that is the Kiefer car as well. Actually, that was a battle for position. So I'm not sure why Scott jumped off the track there a moment or two ago, but he certainly did. At the front of the field, Ryan Yardley enjoying his time in the sunshine at the Circuit of the Americas. And at the moment, his gap is 2.7 seconds, which is, I would say, more than enough, Shea, wouldn't you? Adequate. Okay.
Yeah.
How very Bentley of you.
6 minutes and 7 seconds to go in this one. I'm not going to say it's enough because the race isn't over yet. And we've seen stranger things happen, particularly at the end of seasons. And we never know what's going to happen until the checkered flag is flown. And then, even then, when the results are made official, we've seen stranger things in the past. So I'm not going to say it's enough. I'll say it is adequate for now.
Side-by-side action for 8th and 9th position. The red, white and black McCann racing car. That's the number 8. And Colin Kaminsky right alongside. Kaminsky tries the overtake. That's De La Torre down the inside. Elias going through turn 12. Kaminsky's another 3 seconds further back and closing in on these two. You can't drive quickly if you're side by side. 13, 14 and 15 here. They're still at it. McCann just ahead at the moment as Elias De La Torre tries to fight back. So Michael McCann for Kelly Moss Racing in that red-fronted car, but he's been taken down the inside. That was a brilliant manoeuvre. That's the Verstappen move down there into 15. Didn't even have to go off the circuit. Both of them off the track again there. That is 19, one of the places that he's been monitored. I bet they do it at 20 as well. Yep, way off the track.
John, remember how we were just talking about that adequate gap? It's not adequate anymore. It's 2.9 seconds back to third with 4.5 minutes to go. So Alex Sedgwick halved the gap in the space of about half a lap.
Right now, that would be 3 laps. At this pace, that would be 3 laps. The worry is that Zach Vanier is now down to 2 seconds behind the leader, as once again we've had a spin. This is the red and white car of Joel Johnson and JDX coming out of turn 1, just losing the back end of the car on acceleration. A little bit of vinyl trading, not paint trading anymore, between the battling Elias De La Torre and Michael McCann. They're still at it over at turn 9 at the moment. And a spin for De La Torre. Now, did he jump or was he pushed? He goes all the way back across the track. That's extremely dangerous because that is over the brow of the hill. And he's right on the racing line as he rejoins here. Madeleine McCann goes through. Comiskey goes through. There goes the number 99, the black car of Alan Metney. But we've got them all through safely. Actually, that was Sabra Cook, wasn't it, that went through? And Yves Boltas must have been there as well. Wow. That was very tight indeed.
Oh.
Very tight indeed. Now, the question is, was there contact there? Or was that just a little bit of over-exuberance on the throttle for Elias De La Torre? He's dumped himself out of 8th position and will sit now, I reckon, somewhere close to 13th or 14th. Coming over the top of the rise. There's daylight between them. No, he's lost it on his own. There was a car and a half. There was a 9.11 and a half gap between the pair. Too much curb on the inside of turn number 9. He was right across the orange pyramid. And superb driving. Boltas was so close as he rolled back across the track, that stranded car. Boltas, it was almost just close your eyes and keep your foot in there.
Oh, very much so. And they crossed the finish line with about 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. So it should be this lap and one more, meaning that this gap, which is closing ever rapidly, is still going to have a real fair shot at the end of the race. Meanwhile, in the Pro-Am, it is still Alan Metney leading the way. He's got 2 cars between himself and Moise Uretsky for second. And now Castro's back up to third. And then Chris Palomo leading in Masters ahead of James Safronis in a different category. And then Scott Bland in that bright yellow machine still looking to try and get another Masters class win this year for Scott Bland. He will come away with third in the championship if everything stays as it is now.
Scott Bland's gone wide there and Kyle Washington's right with him, right ahead of him. The Kiefer, number 27 car, Thomas Kiefer in the pro class in the Memento car. But Alex Sedgwick has caught Zach Vanier and they're only 2 seconds away from Ryan Yardley. A little bit of a mistake by Yardley. Could see them back on. Sedgwick is doing everything he can. He must have saved some performance in his Yokohama tyres. He'll do the over and under through turn 12. Once again, Vanier off the track there. That's not one of the places that's being looked at. Through goes Sedgwick on the inside. He's going to get the outside into turn 15. He's going to try the cut back again here for my money. Dives up the inside, squares it off, and again the car he's racing is off the track, and behind him Luke Hartog's watching here. Round the outside, 16, 17 and 18. That is a bold manoeuvre for Sedgwick, but it's the only thing he can do. It'll put him on the inside for the left-hander at 19, and he's gone through. Second place, outstanding manoeuvre. He's off the track this time as they come down into 20, and Luke Hartog's sitting in the background, waiting to pick up any potential positional gain as we go on to the final lap. Was the white flag out there, Shay?
Yep, it was waving. So this is going to be at the final lap of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America Championship for 2024. Alex Sedgwick fighting desperately, hoping that some misfortune comes the way of Ryan Yardley on this last lap, and he sweeps through to not only take the championship in second, but also another race win.
Ryan Yardley knows what it's like to be on the top step of the podium this year, Shay, but he's not been on a podium like this one in front of the huge crowds on the front straight at Kota. He's got under 3 miles to go now, and the battle is all behind him. I think Sedgwick's done enough as he is trying to close down on the leader, but that battle cost them a second last time around. And what was just on 2 seconds is now 3.6. Yardley is cruising to a victory here. He'll be being told by his team, no track limits now. Don't push your luck at 19 or 20. You do not need a 10-second penalty right now. That would put him all the way down to 5th position. So he must keep the Yokohamas inside the white line. Meantime, it's not all over yet for Zach Vanier. He's holding on to the 3rd step of the podium at the moment. And Luke Hartog, I said yesterday, I think Luke Hartog will want to stand on the podium and celebrate his championship. At the moment, Shea Adam, he's about 1 car's length and 1 Zach Vanier away from doing that.
Yeah, and for these weekends, our podium is only celebrated by the winners. So for Luke Hartog, it wouldn't even be getting to go up and see the view from the F1 vantage point. That is reserved for only the class winners. But if Luke Hartog were to not finish in 3rd or better, it would only be the 3rd time all season that's happened. As Ryan Yardley now comes through turn 19, getting ready for the hard left-hander to come onto the front straight and see the checkered flag.
Checkered flag waves for the final time in the IMSA season, and the Porsche Carrera Cup North America is over, and Ryan Yardley takes the final race victory and will stand atop of the F1 podium, and that will be good enough to give him 2nd place in the overall and pro championship. Gotta say that Alex Sedgwick tried his best, didn't get the rub of the green in the first part of the race, and Zach Vanier in 3rd position. Luke Hartog confirmed now as our pro and overall championship leader, and Alan Metney has brought it home again. The iFly number 99 Kelly Moss racing car out of the final corner. He will be the Pro-Am champion in 2024. Smart race by Alan. Hasn't always had the luck this year, and for once it was his competitors who didn't get the rub of the green. Coming home in the Masters category. Oh, spin right at the end of the race. Oh, my goodness me. That was Kyle Washington getting turned around. Scott Blind right in there as well as Chris Palomo.
Wow.
Scott Blind then takes the Masters category ahead of Chris Palomo, and Matt Holcomb is in 3rd position at the end. So your arithmetic will have to be redrawn, Shea Adam. And that all happened. Scott Blind was right in there. He's one of the Masters runners as well. And there was a touch, and round went the number 32 of Kyle Washington. So he was in that fight. That was a legitimate fight there. The first 3 in the Masters category. And Scott Blind comes through to claim it at the end. That will be being looked at, I am sure. But as it stands, and as they cross the line, Scott Blind from Chris Palomo and Matt Holcomb. And were you not entertained by that, Cota? Shea Adam, let's go through the points.
Well, I need to do a little bit more math, but I can tell you after doing the Masters class, unofficially, with a 3rd place finish for Matt Holcomb, that's enough. Because that would give him 276 points to Chris Palomo's 274. Now, I don't know the fast lap points, and that would make a difference, but potentially, I think Matt Holcomb is our champion. I need to go through and look at Alan Metney and Efren Castro really quickly, but I believe it is Metney who takes the championship, and then it should be Moise Uretsky moving up into 3rd. And then for the Pro Championship, Luke Hartog is our 2024 season champion. Not quite by 100 points, though, because with today's victory, Ryan Yardley made it a little bit closer, and he does take 2nd in the championship ahead of Alex Sedgwick, who did everything that he possibly could as well.
Amazing stuff. Just goes to show that it is never over till it's over. Literally the last corner of the season. Unofficially then, the top 10 were all the pro class cars. Ryan Yardley, Alex Sedgwick and Zach Vanier are the top 3.
Wait a minute.
Luke Hartog in 4th. Let me run this down and then we'll do the changes. Michael Cooper, Dan Clark, Michael McCann, Jimmy Niebler, Yves Boltas and Colin Kaminsky in the top 10. Unofficially at the moment, I suspect there will be some changes to that coming from race control. It's key in the Masters class if there are any penalties, and track limits penalties as well. As I said before, we're not party to the race control channel here. So Shea Adam, what are you seeing and hearing?
I am looking at the points for pole position, which were not given to me before the race today. That makes it a tie in the Masters category for Matt Halcomb and Chris Belomo on 276 points each. So now I need to go back and look at race wins to try and figure out which driver has more of those to their name. And looking at it quickly, it's a tie, so we need to go to second place finishes.
And if either one of those have got the fastest lap in this race, that would settle it.
Correct. They are also tied on second place finishes.
No way.
I don't know who won this championship, John.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be rock, paper, scissors in the back of the paddock here. Scott Blind with his hands in the air for winning the race, took his opportunity when it all kicked off at the final corner. And, well, he hasn't been told that he's been given a penalty, so he looks pretty happy. Scott Blind's going up the stairs into the cool-down room as a winner of class. Chris Belomo scored in second and Matt Holcomb in third. We're trying to get the data from the fastest lap in Masters to see if it affects either the number 68 of Chris Belomo or Matt Holcomb in the Mystery Machine number 55. Either of those two get the fastest lap. That will be what splits them for the 2024 Masters Championship. Extraordinary. Ryan Yardley wins the race for the TCS number 78 and adds to his win column of the season, and top racing performance will be celebrating at the Night of Champions tonight. Ryan Sedgwick pipped to second place by Yardley and Zach Vanier in third. Luke Hartog will be celebrating long and hard as well with Kelly Moss as he takes the championship. And
John, if I am correct in this, before we go into the fast lap point, with today's second place finish, Belomo should take the championship if it was a tiebreak, because he would have 5 and Matt Halcomb would have 4.
What a season. It's gone right to the end. The winners in class coming up onto the podium. Scott Blind gets the win in the Masters category. Alan Metney in Pro-Am, and he'll take the Pro-Am championship. And Ryan Yardley will be the final of the 3 winners on the Formula One podium for 2024. What a picture, what a season. Start the countdown clock. We'll begin it again at Sebring in March 2025. For Shea Adam and all of our production crew, trackside and at Concord, I'm John Hindorf. That was the 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup North America.